Hey everybody, I'm Paste Magazine TV editor Allison Keene.
And I am Paste Editor-in-Chief Josh Jackson.
And we're here today with an appreciation of Legends of Tomorrow. Legends of Tomorrow, now in its 5th season, was created from a hodgepodge of characters from the Arrowverse. That's the CW's superhero universe. It had a bit of a rocky start, but it has really found its footing by just having a bonkers good time. Filled with meta humor and history-tinged hilarity, our crew of sundries travel through time to stop demons, hellspawn, magical creatures, and other power-hungry baddies from altering the past. But the series also has the ability to truly gut punch you with incredibly emotional storylines and reveals that illustrate how wonderfully deep it all really is. It's joyful, it's smart, it's silly, it never fails to mix things up. It's clearly the best show on television. I mean, I don't think anyone is arguing that.
So this is a show I have only just started watching. I got convinced in the office here to watch the first episode, thought it was pretty terrible.
No, we never said watch the first episode. We would never recommend that.
And then I got pushed to, just skip the first season. Go ahead and start with season 2. And I really have been enjoying it. It is good, silly fun. This is a show like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, like Supernatural, like Doctor Who, that likes to play with its form, likes to throw different genre takes and everything. Just throw the kitchen sink at and see what sticks. As seems to be its approach to everything.
Yeah, if you're weary of superheroes and superhero stories, this one is very, very different. It will rejuvenate you with that genre.
If you're wary of sentient time-traveling dolls named Bebo, this is also probably not it for you. But Bebo. It is ridiculously fun.
It really is, yeah. And so a note on viewing order. So Josh mentioned, of course, the pilot is it's fun, but it's not indicative of how the show is eventually. Really, you should start with season 2. If you're pressed for time, you can start with season 3. Really, you can kind of jump in at any point because there's almost no cohesion. It's very episodic. The cast changes up. That's one of the things actually that I think the show is so successful at doing is that it changes everything up all the time. If a character
timelines change, reality changes,
and characters change. The cast changes.
If you die, it doesn't mean you're really dead because maybe you're alive in a different timeline.
You could come back as a totally different character that has nothing to do with the character you played before. And everyone's fine with it. So, and it's very aware that it's doing these things too. You know, it's not trying to pass anything off, and it just gets smarter and more layered as it goes.
I asked Allison, I was like, do they hew pretty closely to any sort of time travel rules? She's like, at first they kind of try to do that, and then they just throw that all out the window and decide that it works better when they just don't.
They just don't. They just do whatever they want, and it's so much better that way. But, you know, even for those of you who watch the Arrowverse shows and recognize some of these characters, like, you know, Sarah Lance and Ray Palmer and Heatwave and Captain Cold in some of the first seasons, and then, you know, they sort of switch out. What I think Legends does really well is that it takes characters that were maybe just marginalized on those shows and lets them really become who they were meant to be. And you can see how much fun the actors are having, how much they sort of participate in this as well. And, you know, villains like Damien Dark and Malcolm Merlyn and Eobard Thawne.
The Legion of Doom.
The Legion of Doom, which is awesome. None of them really, Eobard Thawne maybe, but the other two really never had their day on Arrow. And Legends of Tomorrow, they just make more sense, especially Damien Dark with the magic stuff, because Legends totally leans into the magic. It totally works. John Constantine is a character that comes in later. You may recall he had his own show on NBC, short-lived.
So just one season. You don't just have the sci-fi time travel. You have demons, you have magic, you have really anything that you want to throw into a comic book comes to life on screen here.
Julius Caesar fighting a werewolf, George Washington being stabbed by a demon. Really, anything is possible in this crazy world.
Dinosaurs. You got dinosaurs.
Sure, why not? I mean, that's literally, it's sort of a why not? Why not try this? Why not throw all these things together? I think your point of throw everything in the kitchen sink at it, I mean, that's Legends. But if somehow it pulls it all together and it's not just hollow, it actually builds really compelling character storylines and you come to really like these people. And they seem to have actual friendships on the ship, which is called the Wave Rider. Whereas the other Arrowverse shows, like they're always in the lab, they're always fighting something. You never see them just being casual and hanging out. That absolutely happens with Legends, and they realize the value of these characters just kind of chilling sometimes.
So, Allison, I want to ask you because, Marvel has dominated the big screen with some wonderful movies. DC has stumbled at times. Marvel's TV versions have been a little hit and miss. This is DC being really fun.
Yeah.
And that's not something you think about right now with the DC brand. It's not it's not super dark or
and they've tried, movies like Aquaman, they've tried to sort of pep it up a little bit, but at the same time, like Legends of Tomorrow to me is one of the best examples of like a comic book TV show. And obviously comic books can mean all kinds of things. I mean, look at the Watchmen show on HBO, taken from a very dark graphic novel and made into its own thing. But Legends is just joyful. And I think that so many shows mistake drama as just being like violent and dark. And it can be fun and joyful and positive too. It's just it's an uplifting show to watch. It's fun.
That's really what it captures, is just the joyfulness that you can have of exploring the possibilities of anything.
When time and space, I mean, anything is possible. Anyone in history, I mean, you can just go anywhere.
Which is part of why Doctor Who has been great for so long.
Exactly, yeah. Because the possibilities are endless.
The possibilities are absolutely endless.
So seasons 1 through 4 are currently streaming on Netflix. Season 5 is airing on the CW and also available for free on the CW app. That's it from us today. So for more picks and recommendations, join us at pastemagazine.com.